Here's the back of the machine. You start here to switch the power switch, which is right there. You just turn it quarter of the way to turn it on. As you can see, it's 3-phase, 240 volts. Then you come around to the front of the machine and you go to the user interface. So this has all the information that you need. As you can see, there's the length of the lace that you want. Leader length is the distance between the dots. So we leave a few inches at the end so that when we tip it, there's a little bit of lace at the end that doesn't have any knobs on it, but that's fully adjustable. The distance between the dots is the dot increment. So you can set that to whatever you'd like. The dot parameters determine the size of the dot. So 19 and 17 are set to what we thought were a good size, but again, you can adjust that as much as you want. That's the number of milliseconds the valve is open, and so the bigger the dot, the less, the smaller the dot. The run speed's 25 feet per minute. The preheater setting, that's just always at 160, and the light intensity, that can be adjusted and can change the density and pliability of the dots. And then everything in green means things are good to go. As you can see, everything is green right now. And then you have a batch counter. So you have a reset the count to go to 0, and then you enter in the number of laces that you want. And so right now, we're just gonna run 5 pairs of laces. Here's the setup of the machine. We're pulling straight out of a box of raw lace. Comes up over the top here. This is the first pressure canister for the adhesive that creates the dot, and as you can see, that's connected to the applicator there. It will run through this series of UV lights, and then we have the same thing on the reverse as the lace comes and turns itself over and then goes through the second one to get it on the reverse side. And then there's the adhesive for the second side. So the colors can be the same, or you can have different adhesive or different dots on the front and back. And then it feeds out here into this box. And then we would eventually bring it over to the tipping machine right here. And this is what cuts it to length. And then our winding and binding machine is over there. But let's go back to the beginning. And you would hit the cycle start button. That turns the machine on. Dots come out here. Now there's a light. You can see those little green dots along the side. That's a light shield. So if you break that plane, the machine will stop automatically. I can't get too super close, but there's the applicator putting on the first round of knob. Then travels through here, and then it comes down and goes to the second side. So as you can see, the knobs are turning over and getting put on the opposite side. And there is a sensor that senses when the dots are, and you can adjust that sensor if you don't want the dot to be in it. And right now we have them centered between the other side, but you can adjust that if you want. And then again, it'll go through the lights, and then you'll see along the bottom here, those are the finished dots where both sides have been dried with the UV lighting, and then they'll come up, go through there. There's the final laces coming down to the box next to Amos. So that is the full process. And again, this is showing that we're on batch number 4 of 5. So it's just about done. And it'll go through there, and then it'll automatically stop. Oh. There's the finished knobs, front and back. And as we've mentioned before, the laces, they come in a variety of colors. In fact, you can CMS custom match them if you're buying a big enough quantity of them. And same with the knobs, those can be specified to whatever colors you wanted. You just have to specify that with the manufacturer. So it got to the 5 counter, and now it stopped the run. So it's just going to continue to cycle as it goes through the drying racks, or not racks, drying UV lights, and then once it gets to the end, it turns off. So there's the last ones right down there are running their course. So that is the full process. Again, a lot of this is customizable. The dot sensor offset, that's the distance on the bottom side when you flip it over between the dots. Again, lace of length can be set. The leader length, the distance between when the dots end and start again to determine how much length you want for your lace. The dot increment, how much space you want between the dots. Right now we have 1 inch, it can be shorter or a lot larger than that. The size of the dots determined, the run speeds determined here, and then the number of laces that you're going to be putting out. So the preheaters are here. This is the preheater, so it warms it up a little bit more right before it's applied to the dot. The Pico touch is controlling that, but from the main sensor you can control most of the information there. And then we also have a little sensor here that determines, that's what measures that there's a dot there, knows to fire the second shot. So those are some of the components for it, and that's the process.